Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from HammerFall, Avenge the Fallen, out August 9th on Nuclear Blast. The album has 10 tracks, 47 minutes in length, and this is the band's 13th full-length studio record. They are a Swedish heavy metal band. As far as the design goes, I enjoyed this album tremendously. On one hand, it is very fluid, it's very dynamic, a lot of ups and downs. It's a ride. This album is a ride from the first to the last song. But that doesn't mean that the album is very volatile. There's still a sense of commonality across these 10 songs that create balance, that create a sort of a cohesive nature that brings all of these songs underneath one single umbrella. And I think having those two experiences are really important in order for the album to have the necessary playability that when you get to the end of it, you're ready to go back again to the beginning. And that's exactly the experience that I had. I really enjoyed this design. I think it gets the most, not just out of the individual songs, but out of the overall record as well. As far as sound is concerned, this is a heavy metal record with some power metal influences. At least that's how it comes across to me. But it's also a little bit of an old school heavy metal sounding album. And I don't mean that just old school like HammerFall old school. That is also there, but old school in terms of heavy metal arena sound. Think about the greatest heavy metal bands playing in big arenas, that big sound, that big presence. This record has it. It has it on the vocal side and it has it on the musical side. So it's an album that has big volume, big bandwidth, and the volume has substance in it, which makes these songs at times feel like larger than life. They almost increase their size in terms of the way they're performed and the way they were written and the way they're put together, and really using all of the elements at their disposal to make these songs that big. It's not an album that it just depends on guitars and vocals. This album depends on everything, even though guitars and vocals are probably the two cornerstones of HammerFall. But when you listen to this album, you're going to notice the bass. You're definitely going to see the impact that the bass has, that underlying grooviness of the songs coming from the bass, but also the size of the songs or the shape of the songs is really helped by having the bass predominantly up front in the mix. And it's impossible not to notice, it's impossible not to see the impact that it has. And I think that was the first thing that surprised me on this album, was how much we got to hear the bass. The drums on this record also help the shape of the songs, and they also help the size of the songs. You cannot have arena sounding tracks without powerful drums behind it. So the powerfulness of the drums on this record helps increase the size, the volume, the shape of the songs, but it also helps infuse heaviness in the more heavier driven songs that the album puts forward. I enjoyed the sound of the drums. It felt complete. It didn't feel hollow. It felt like it had substance. And when you have a drum sound like that, that is the recipe. That's the first step towards creating that arena vibe that this album is all about. Now, once you get to the guitars, one of the calling cards of the bands, you're going to see the dynamic nature of the sound come to life. With the melodies, with the riffs, with the solos. This album has great guitar playing throughout. Not that I was expecting anything else, but it's an album that has that driving force behind the guitars that allows them to help shape the dynamic nature of each and every single song, and also help shape the size of the song and the direction in which the songs are going. This is also a very anthem-driven album, and you cannot have an anthem-driven album without great guitar playing and great vocals, because the vocals are definitely the other cornerstone of HammerFall. And if you're creating an anthem-style album, you need to have them in the forefront. But not just have the vocals in the forefront, you need to have those backing vocals, those choir-style chants that give size to the tracks, that give life to the songs, that create that anthem vibe. And with that anthem vibe comes that arena-style metal sound that this album is so rich on. Joaquin on vocals is phenomenal. He really delivers a great performance on this record. It feels extremely connected to the songs, to the lyrics in the songs, and to that anthem vibe that the album has. He definitely sells it very well with a great, strong performance across each and every single song, sometimes changing his delivery ever so slightly to match the intensity or the lack of that the songs have, but always going for what the song has in terms of its mood, of its vibe, and matching that with a vocal performance in order for the song to feel complete across all parameters. And that's exactly what this album is, a very complete, record across all of its parameters. Another amazing album and an amazing discography. An album that to me is driven by its anthem nature and that arena metal sound experience. The two go hand in hand, and this album delivers that across 10 different songs. As far as favorite tracks are concerned, I'm going to start off with Hero to All. It builds up from the verses to the chorus. It's not a high tempo song, but it's a song that you feel like it's brewing. It's always at the cusp. It has that great guitar sound. It has a great drum sound as well behind it to make everything feel a little bit more together. And the guitars add a lot of classical elements to the sound, which gives richness, which gives texture to the overall sound experience, but also to the guitars as well. And then the vocals are perhaps the element that propels this track forward. I really felt like the vocals were the catalyst of the movement of where this song was going. And then you have the backing vocals to bring that anthem vibe to the forefront. Really important, something that you're going to see sung in and sung out throughout the entire record. And it's a track that explodes in the second half, definitely becoming a little bit heavier, a little bit more, bringing some more intensity to the forefront, a little bit more driven. The solo section helps with that sense of explosion, and then the vocals are just really the icing on the cake that are able to capture all of these different momentums and add to them. Next you have Burn It Down, definitely a faster track than Hero to All, a track that you could hear the bass really well, adding that groove underline to the overall sound. The vocals are amazing on this song. The chorus is great, it has a little bit of a sing-along style chorus, which makes it not only an anthem style track, but a super hooky and catchy song. Definitely one of the hookiest songs on this record, and that is saying something considering how this album plays out. But it's a very engaging, dynamic track. Another track that has a great solo section, super explosive, just matching the overall energy that the song already has. So that solo is just like just emphasizing what the overall song is all about. Last but definitely not least, Rise of Evil. Of the three songs, this is the one that has the fastest tempo. This is also the one that has the heavier sound. But I think that is just, when you think of the title of the track, Rise of Evil, when you look at the lyrics of the song, you cannot have a mellow track here. You definitely have to have a balls to the wall approach sound-wise. You have to have the vocals to match that same intensity, that same aggression. And then you have to have that heavier guitar and drum sound to bring it all to life, to bring it all together, to create an impact. It's still a song that has a melodic tone to it, specifically once you get into the chorus. The chorus of this track is a lot more melodic than it is heavier, but this creates that separation between the two, which makes the song feel even more dynamic and feel even more fluid. I love the hookiness of the chorus. I love the vocals around the chorus. They match that more melodic vibe really well. The vocals in the verses match that heavier sound really well. So it's a great complete song that has great bass lines, heavy guitars, great vocal performance, all of the attributes of a heavy metal track with some power metal influences into it. This is it, HammerFall, Avenge the Fallen, out August 9th on Nuclear Blast. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Hit me up in the comment section. I'll see you all at the next video. Take care, guys.